All right, we are going live. We're almost live. I think we're live here in the Facebook group. We'll give it a second to get in here, and we will get started here with Thursday Q&A. We had to move it up early because I'll be on a flight a little bit later today. Let's go live here on IG and see what we've got here. Okay. Let's go and get started. So today is Thursday. We're going live here a lot earlier. Typically on Thursdays, we go live in the Facebook group and on LinkedIn and YouTube and even IG, usually around 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to be unavailable at that time. I'm going to be headed to the airport at that time. I've got a flight out to Miami to train a couple of our bigger clients, big company clients there in Miami. Coming all that stuff. So anyways, fun stuff. So let's go ahead and have a nice Q&A or actually, no, I'm not going to Miami. I'm going to a different city. I always get my cities going off. I don't even know why I said Miami. I don't even know where I'm going to. I got to check my itinerary. Anyways, good Lord, what are we going to do? All right. So today I'm going to make myself available for about the next 30 minutes. Okay. And I want you to ask me any question that's on your mind about sales. All right. Now, here's what's going to help me answer your question the best. If you tell me what industry you're in. If you say, well, Jeremy, how do I bring up price? Well, in what industry? Do you sell solar? Do you sell medical device? Do you sell cybersecurity? Do you sell life insurance? Do you sell cars? So tell me, I sell this, and here's my question. So if you want me to answer your question, I sell this, and this is my question. Okay, because if you give me more context around the question, then I know what you're talking about. Because unfortunately, I can't ask you like, hey, tell me, what did you mean by that? Or in what situation are you talking about? Try to give me as much context as you can and what you sell. And that's going to it's going to help me answer your question better. Now, if you're brand new to our Facebook group, because I'm going live here on my desktop in our Facebook group on StreamYard, Sales Revolution, got about 39,000 of you in there. Our LinkedIn, got a ton of you in there. Our YouTube, that's growing like crazy. And our Facebook business page, got about 100,000 of you in there, somewhere in there, 90, 100,000. Then we're going live here on Instagram, here on my phone, and we've got about 215,000 of you guys in there. Crazy. I didn't even have an IG account until a year ago. That thing is really growing like crazy. All right. Now, if you're brand new to any of that, this is the first time you're seeing me. I'm the chairman. I'm the founder and chairman of Seventh Level. We're an organization that trains salespeople exactly like you watching me here in this black shirt. So we train salespeople like you, sales leadership like you, sales executives like you, sales management like you, okay? Coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, business owners, and we help you and your teams transform the way you sell by learning specific skilled questions and techniques, lo and behold, that actually work with human behavior rather than work against it. That's a big, massive difference in income you'll make once you understand what I'm talking about. Now, those are known as neuro-emotional persuasion questions. That stands for NEPQ. If you hear me say that, okay, that puts your prospect at ease. It disarms them. It triggers them to let their guard down and actually open up to you, because it takes out the sales pressure of that conversation and triggers them to want to engage, to want to open up and actually pull you in. And selling becomes way easy at that point and very, very profitable. And it makes it a lot more fun right now. If you're on the live right now, I want you to go post #live. So if you're on live right here on IG, go post #live in the comments section. I better see hundreds of those #live. It's got about 170 of you on here in this IG live. If you're in the Facebook group or YouTube or LinkedIn or the business page, post #live if you're on the live. And if you're on the replay, post #replay. Now, I also want you to go smash the heart button, and I want you to smash the like button. I better see a lot of those smashed hearts and smash likes, baby, if you want me to answer any of your questions. Now, if you want to start acquiring skills that actually work, like thousands of our clients are doing day in and day out, okay, there's a reason why we have almost 11,000 testimonials at this point in the last 28 months. According to our clients that come from other sales training companies, that's more than most sales training companies have that have been in business for 50 years. We've been in business for not even 4. So if you want to acquire those type of skill sets, okay, you want to start making $10,000 a month in commissions in your industry, Or let's say you want to start to consistently make 15 grand every month or 20 grand every month. I'm not kidding when I say that. Or if you want to start making 30 grand every single month with what you sell right now, or even higher, 40, 50,000 plus per month. Okay. You want to acquire those advanced skills, message me directly right now. So if you're on IG, message me directly right now. If you're on LinkedIn, Facebook business page, message me directly right now. If you're on YouTube, post hashtag NEPQ. If you don't know how to message me directly, just post hashtag NEPQ if you want to acquire those skills so you automatically start making more money, and you can actually start doing that on your very next call. If that's what you want, you don't have to make more money. It's a free world that we live in. All it takes are the right skills. What I heard from Tony Robbins say one time that changed my sales career because I wasn't learning the right skills. And he said this. He said, you will fail if you don't learn the right skills necessary to succeed. You will fail if you don't learn the right skills necessary to succeed. He goes on to say that everybody's taught skills, but the people who fail are the ones who are not taught the right ones. So if you want to learn the right skills to work with human behavior, that during my 17-year sales career before I retired and then started 7th level, I made a bit under 33 million in straight commissions in a 17-year sales career. Who do you know that has done that? Probably not anybody. I'm talking as an employee, as a job, not a business owner. Okay. All right. I love you guys. Okay. Let's go through some questions here. All right. Let's start here. I'm going to start here in the Facebook group and YouTube. Then I'm going to come over here on IG. Do you think face-to-face selling or over the phone is harder? That's from Jade Mercer. Do you think face-to-face selling or over the phone is harder? I think both are hard if you don't have the right skills. Now, here's what I want to tell you though. If you can be face-to-face, okay, so rather than just on the phone, like if you can be even virtual with them on Zoom and they can actually see you, or you can be in person, that you will have, with what we train you, you will have a little bit of a higher conversion compared to if you only call on the phone. Okay. Because people can't see you. They're just a voice. A lot of people want to see you. There's more trust when they can see you. So Jade, I would try to get your prospects on Zoom if possible. Now that doesn't mean you're in an industry that you can do that. Okay. We train tens of thousands of salespeople in 158 different industries, and a lot of them don't have the opportunity to be on Zoom or to be in person. Okay. And they're on the phone and they're making 5 times more than anybody else that doesn't go through our training. So, but if you can help it, Jade, if you can be virtual on them where they can see you on Zoom or they can be in person, you will have a higher conversion rate than over the phone, because there's more trust when they can actually see that you're a real life human being and not just a voice on a phone. So that was an IG question. That was an excellent question. I just saw that randomly as I was posting down there. Okay, so let's start here. Jeremy, this is from Raps Coils on YouTube. Love what you do. My question is, when do you advise to bring up price? Which stage in the presentation? And can you give an example of how to speak about price? Yeah, now I don't know what you sell, so I'm just going to have to give you a generic example. Next time, tell me what you sell, and I can really make it industry specific for you, because I can pretty much assure you we're training people in your industry right now, if not huge companies. So you always bring up price at the end of your presentation. I see some people that bring up price right before you go through how you're going to solve their problem. The problem with that way of thinking is that your prospect, when you do that, when you just bring up the price before you go through their problems that they told you about, their objectives of where they want to be and how you're going to solve them, is all they're going to do most of the time is just think about the price the whole time. So now you've got them in price-based thinking, and they're kind of tuning you out like, oh, I don't know if I can afford it. And they're not even listening to you on how you can solve their problem when you go through your presentation. So if you want to make a ton of money, you want to wait. So you want to go through it's, 3-step formula in your presentation. If you're one of our clients, if you're not one of our clients, just, post hashtag NEPQ, because in our advanced NEPQ 3.0 virtual training and group coaching, that's where you're going to learn more advanced presentations, even over our 2.0 members that have more of the 10-hour portal. That's in like the 35-hour portal with the group training in it. That's where you're going to learn advanced proposals, advanced presentations that connect the emotional dots. And when you get to the end of that, let's say you get to the end of the 3rd pillar that we train you, and you're going to ask for a checking agreement question. Any questions? So what you're going to do is now I'm going to give you a generic example here, Raps, because next time tell me what you sell, and I would have just told you exactly what to say word for word for your industry. I'm going to give you something generic. So at the end of that, and so the way we solve that for our clients like you, so one of the biggest problems that people have when they come to us is they, X, Y, Z, which causes them to A, B, and C, whatever the consequence is. So the way we solve that for our clients like you, then you go over specifically how you solve that one problem they said they had. And then at the end of that, you're going to go over and what that means to you is, and you're going to go over the advantages and benefits of what it means for them. And then at the end of that, you're going to say, now, here's the funds that you'll need to put in so that you can, and you're going to repeat back what they said they wanted. Perhaps I don't know what you sell, so I'm going to make up something. Okay. So I'm going to say that you sell, I don't even know, real estate training. You work for a company that trains people how to scale their properties in real estate. We train a ton of people in that space too. I'll give you a few examples. Okay. So at the end of that, I might say, I'm going to tie in what they said they wanted, which is probably more homes to make more money, right? To get wealthy. So write this down. Here's the funds that you'll need to put into the training to make sure we're able to help scale you up to at least 10 to 15 properties per year. So write this down. You're going to need around $12,580 to get that type of result. Any questions on how that works? So anytime you bring up the price, at the end of that, you say, so you can, and you repeat back what they said they wanted. So here's the funds that you'll need to get the 500,000 policy to make sure that the equity in the home is protected and Cindy and the kids are protected when something does happen to you. Looks like we're able to qualify you for $332 a month to have the financial protection for Cindy and the kids. Any questions on how that works? So I'm always tying back the money with what they said they wanted. If they can get the funds, they get what they want. If they can't get the funds, they don't get what they said they wanted. Now, it depends on what you sell, whether you're going to use money or budget or funds or funding. If you're selling like an ROI offer that helps them scale the business where they can make more money, or like a business opportunity or something where they're starting something, you're going to talk more about funding, the funding that you'll need. Okay. If you're talking more about like transactional stuff, the funds that you'll need to put in. Okay. If you're selling to like large enterprise accounts, sometimes you can use funding, sometimes you can use funds. I don't like to use the word budget because budget is a big word that a lot of salespeople use in B2B sales. I mean, out of the 4 industries I sold in, 2 were B2B, business to business, 2 were B2C, business to consumer. And every salesperson would talk about budget, budget, budget. But when you keep putting budget, 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 budget in the prospect's mind, budget is what? To most people, it's like cheap, budget, 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 budget. It causes them to think like this, like, I've only got this budget, right? They can't go up above that budget. But if I talk more about funding and funds, I don't get them into that budgeting mode where they're always saving every penny. And when you keep using the word budget to bring up your price points, you're just getting them into the save mode, penny mode, the poor man's mode, okay? Extremely wealthy people don't sit around talking about just the budgets. They don't. They talk about funds and funding and cash flow. You want to use those type of words to get them to think results-based thinking over price-based thinking. Hopefully that answered your question. What's up, homie, from Facebook? Jeremy, you're a beast from LinkedIn. You guys are just being nice to me. Okay. Austin from YouTube. Here's a good question. Would you recommend 1 call or 2 call close for outbound calls for selling e-commerce coaching programs? Well, it depends on your price points. If you're selling like a $1,000 or $2,000 price point, then I would suggest a 1 call close for what you sell. Now, we train thousands of people and companies in your industry, just so you're aware. I'm very familiar with it. And if it's something that's like $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $30,000, $50,000, that's typically going to be a 2 call close. A 1 call triage, which is maybe 8 to 10 minutes to bring out some problems in their mind to make sure they're qualified. Okay. Because maybe they're a homeless person. You don't want to pass them on. And then you're setting up that second triage call where you're getting them on Zoom, right? Because the first call is probably on the phone, right, with your industry. And then that second conversation is going to be set up on Zoom where they can see you virtually. And that's where you're going to go through and actually close them on how you're going to solve their problems in a 2 call close. Plus they have 2 touches. There's a little bit more trust at that point. Okay. But if it's like a $1,000 sale or $2,000, you can probably do that on a first call. But if it's higher than 5, you're usually going to do that on a 2 call close. Okay. Let's see. Jason Lee, best rebuttals to the objection, getting 3 quotes in the HVAC industry. We train thousands of people in your industry as well. So Jason, I want you to get, and I know where you're coming from, I'm not saying anything wrong, but I want you to get the word rebuttals out of your brain. Because when you think an objection or a concern, like you've got to rebut it, like it's like you against the prospect, it's adversarial. So that way of thinking gets you into fight mode. And when you fight and push a prospect, what do they do back? Fight and push you back. Okay. And then you're just like, boom, like butting. It's like two big rams just hitting their heads. It doesn't go anywhere and you lose the deal, even if you're right. Okay. Do you want to lose the deal or do you want to win the deal? Like, so you want to diffuse the objection. You want to help them overcome it. Okay. Typically I just want to give you, I'll give you the Band-Aid solution in a second, but I want to let you know that is a downstream issue. Typically, if a prospect gets to the end of your conversation, like, well, this looks really good, but I'm getting 3 other quotes. I'll tell you if we're interested. What does that tell me? That you don't know how to build a gap yet. You don't know how to build a gap from your questioning ability where they actually go below the surface and really tell you the why behind why they're even looking to make those changes. Okay. You haven't learned how to do that. You're just asking surface level questions and the prospect is giving you surface level answers in return. There's no emotion brought out from them. There's no gap from where they are compared to where they want to be. You don't know how to build that gap yet because your questionability is off and your tonality is off. And that triggers objections like that. So if you want to reduce that type of objection by 70% or more, because we train thousands in your industry to make 30, 40, 50 grand a month in commissions. Just, it's reps, Jason. Some of them make more. Message me directly right now because we can show you different training programs where you don't even hardly get that objection. Now, if you do get the objection, you simply just say, because every once in a while you're still going to get that objection, even with the very best training I give you, but we're probably going to cause you to reduce it 70% of the time. You're still going to get it sometimes. So you just read, yeah, that's not a problem. What are you hoping those quotes actually say from those companies, though, just so I understand? Lower your voice. Yeah, that's not a problem. What are you hoping the quotes will actually say? Now, why would I want to ask that? Because then it tells me if they're still price-based thinking over result-based thinking. Okay. Well, I'm hoping that we get the cheapest thing and blah, 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 blah. Well, you could. It just depends on what type of result you're looking for. Like, are you looking, because we can give you a really cheap, we can give you a really cheap quote too, but it just depends on like if you want and I'm just going to throw some problems out there. I bring you out here and ask you more, but it just depends on if you're wanting to get that, if you're wanting to get the draft out of the upstairs bedroom because it's not heating the upstairs like it does in the downstairs. Or if you're wanting to put in like a really cheap unit that's going to, probably break down in the next 3 to 4 years and you have to end up replacing it. Or if you want to get in a unit that's going to last you 20 to 25 years. And then when it breaks down, we replace it for free. And then your air is flowing up here in the top stairs. So your daughter doesn't feel that draft coming in from the old windows at night. See, I'm just plugging back whatever they said they were looking for in the first place. And now it all depends on the situation, which is going to be different on every call. So it just depends on what type of result you want. See, that gets them thinking what? Oh, maybe the different price points determine if the problems actually get solved or not. Because they don't really think, they think just an HVAC unit is just an HVAC unit. They're all the same, right? They don't know what you know. They're all different, right? Because you can put in a cheap one that might bust and break and doesn't solve their problems they have. Or you can put in a high-end one that's going to solve their problems, get the air, everything that they want done, and it's going to last for 20 or 30 years, and there's going to be a warranty on it where they never have to worry about it again in their life. See, they don't know that. They think they're all the same. Most of your prospects think they're all the same in any industry you guys sell in, okay? So at the end of that, if that still is not moving them, you can say, yeah, it just depends on what type of result you're looking for. Are you looking for like a cheap unit? Because we can put in a cheap unit if you want. It just depends on if you want it to keep breaking down and having the same issues you mentioned to me, and you're always having to pay more, which typically costs you 2 to 3 times. Or if you're like most of the people that come to us that typically get those cheap units, they're wanting to get the XYZ unit so it lasts XYZ years. And when it breaks down at that point, they just get it replaced for free. So it just depends on what type of result. I mean, is it more important for you to get the cheapest price, or in the problem doesn't get solved, or is it more important for you to actually get the result that you want? See, that gets them thinking more like, oh, maybe I do want to get the result. Okay. Now, let's say that doesn't work. They're still wanting to get the other quotes. Here's what you do at the last step. Now, when you meet with the 3 companies, let's say that they all come back and they can all solve the same problem and provide you what you need. And even the price points are similar. How would you then decide who to go with at that point? Now, why would I want to ask that question? So let me repeat that. So let's say that you meet with XYZ company and ABC company and DFG company, and it all comes back that they can all solve the problem, including us, and the price points are similar. How would you then decide who to go with? Well, at that point, it would come down to, on whatever they say, that's what you focus on. Now, I can pretty much guarantee you that no other salesperson that they're getting quotes from would even know how to ask that question. Okay, would even know NEPQ at all, would even know anything about it. So you have a huge competitive advantage over them. All right, Jason, hopefully that helped you. DM me now if you want to get training options for your industry. Quite literally have people in your industry. We have some people in your industry that make over 100 grand a month in commissions. Okay, and they weren't making 60 grand a month when they started with this. We have people that were making 2 or 3 grand a month about to get fired in your industry that now make 15, 20, 30, 40 grand plus a month in commissions. It's all about acquiring the right skills to do that. Okay, so just message me directly. Okay, let's go over to a couple of questions here in IG. Hold on one second, because I've been neglecting you guys. Christian, you're the man. You're just being too nice, Christian. Just fumbled a sales meeting. Mike Woody. Mike, message me directly now so you don't fumble another sales meeting. It's not good to fumble. You got to get the ball up here and be able to know how to maneuver and score touchdowns. And that's what we train you how to do, not by pumping you up and motivating you, because when the prospect answers the phone and says hello, all that motivation goes out the window if you don't know what to say and ask. That triggers the prospect to let their guard down and want to open up to you, right? Okay. Hey, man, really, the ducking legend. Thank you. Hey, Jeremy, what do you say to someone who thinks what you do is a pyramid? That's relentless living. Well, relentless living, I don't know what industry you're in. Tell me what industry you're in. Now, if you're in network marketing, I'm assuming you'd get that objection, right? We train thousands of network marketers that make actually millions of dollars a year in commissions now that were broke when they started with us a couple of years ago. So what do you say? So if they is this a pyramid? We just got to ask a clarifying question first. A lot of times when you ask a clarifying question, people will just answer their own objection. How do you mean by pyramid? Well, the people at the top always make more money than the people at the bottom. I'm not sure I understand, because technically, when you work for a company, your CEO at the top, would they make more money than the people at the very bottom? Oh, yeah, I've never thought about it that way. Yeah, because I'm not sure what you mean by a pyramid. Sometimes people say in network marketing that it's a pyramid scheme because, the person that recruits that recruits you, when you make a sale, they get a small percentage of that. But that typically that would be a type of job when the CEO and the business owners make more money at the people at the bottom, right? So, I'm not really sure what you mean by that. A lot of times, quite literally, people, you ask them that question and they'll just be like, oh yeah, and they're like, oh, that was a dumb question that they even asked. Now, if you can give me more details about what you do and how that comes up, I can probably give you a better response than that. But that's just off the top of my head. We train a ton of people in your space. Okay, you're a top bloke. Thank you very much. You're being nice. How do I adapt NEPQ to use in a retail store? From Danny. Great question. We train tons of retail stores, some pretty big retail stores now that have quadrupled their sales after we taught them just NEPQ questions, from connecting questions to situation questions to problem awareness. Rather than what do you say now when somebody walks into your building? What's the first words out of your mouth? Hey, welcome into the store. How can we help you today? I'm assuming that's what you do, right? Because that's what most people in most retail stores do. How you doing today? How can I help you today, right? And what do most prospects say? Unless they're a lay down. Don't eat peanuts before you do it live. Most people say this. Oh, I'm just looking. And they just shut you out. What are you going to do then? So you want to ask, I'm going to show you something that's different than retail than any other industry. Okay. because we train a lot of car dealerships too. Those are all retail. People are walking in. We train beauty salon. I mean, we train everything you can think of at this point. Okay. The only industry we don't train is underwater basket weaving. If you guys have connections in the underwater basket weaving industry, let us know. We've not been able to crack that market. I'm kidding. Okay, so when they walk in, you want to ask a diffuse. This is only for retail that I'm answering this. You wouldn't do this with other industries, but for retail you would. So when they walk in, you know that most people are going to say, "I'm just looking." So instead of triggering that to happen by saying, "Can I help you with something today?" because that triggers them to say, "Oh, I'm just looking." You want to just tell them their objection when they walk in, so they don't give you an objection. Okay, so let me show you how to do this. They come into the store. "Hey guys, welcome into the store. You guys just out looking around today?" See, I just told them their objection. "Hey guys, welcome into the store. You guys just out looking around today?" And they're going to agree with me. They're like, yeah, we're just having a good time." "Oh, okay. And do you guys know what you're possibly looking for?" See how I go right in to my first connecting question. "Hey guys, welcome into the store today. Are you guys just out looking around today?" Yeah. They're going to be like, yeah, they can't give you an objection. And then you say, "Oh, okay. And do you guys know what now don't say, "Do you know what you're looking for?" Don't say that fast. You're going to say, okay. And do you know what you're possibly looking for? Slow that down. Say possibly. It's more of a neutral statement. And watch how they're like, "Well," and they start to think deeper because you slow down the question. Okay. That's just a hint. If you want more training on what to do next, like, well, what connecting questions do you ask after that? What situation questions do you need to ask? What problem awareness to help them see what problems they have? If you want to learn all that, DM me right now. I mean, we have people in retail that make 10 to 15 grand a month or more in commissions in retail. That's pretty much unheard of. Some of them make more than that, 20 grand a month. Got people at Nordstrom's making 20 grand, 25 grand a month in commissions. At Nordstrom's, what? Nobody makes that money just because of NEPQ. Okay. It's Christian Hutchinson. "Religion, my most interesting objection. How do you navigate?" I don't know. What do you mean by religion is an objection? You're going to have to give me some context. Are they saying at the end of it like, "Oh, we really need to pray about this and we'll get back to you"? Is that what you mean? The pray about it objection? Okay, so I want to make sure everybody understands. When a prospect says, "I want to think it over," or "I want to pray about it," that is not a real objection. It's not. Okay, even if they really believe that God cares if they buy an e-com business or not. I'm not sure if God does care. Maybe he does. I don't know. Maybe he does. But that's not a real objection. The objection is behind why they want to pray. The objection is behind why they want to think it over. That's where the objection lies. They're just not telling you the objection. So they say things like, "I want to think about it," or "I don't make rash decisions," or "I want to pray about it," because they're hiding their objection. Well, what do they want to pray about? The money? Do they want to pray, is it the right thing for them? That's the real objection, but they're not telling you that. So what you have to do is you have to learn. Let me show you how to do this. Okay. I'll just kind of bring this whiteboard up here. You have to learn how to disarm that prospect. All right. So let me go through this, hopefully. So we want to learn what's called the ABDs of selling. Okay. This is called always be disarming. Always be disarming. We have to trigger the prospect to want to let their guard down and open up to us and tell us what the real concern is. Now, if you don't know how to do that, guess what? They're not going to tell you what the real concern is, and you're going to lose the deal more than likely. That's why you want to learn NEPQ, because you learn how to disarm them. Okay, that's if you're in a virtual training courses, you wouldn't lose the sales you're losing now because of that objection. I guarantee you, more than likely, you probably wouldn't get the objection. Because when people say they want to think about it, when you get that objection, or "I don't make rash decisions," or "Can you send me references?" That's another same type of an objection. Or "I want to pray about it." It's because something you're saying, and more than likely probably not asking, is triggering them to have uncertainty in their brain. And when a buyer has uncertainty in their brain, guess what? They don't buy. Okay. You have to trigger certainty in their brain that you can actually solve their problems and get them the result they want. You don't do that by telling them you can. Look, they know you're trying to sell them something. You're biased. That's why it goes in one ear out the other. You do that by building a gap in their brain from the questions you ask and your tone that triggers them to see what their real situation is compared to where they want to be, their current state, their objective state. What's the gap? All these newfound problems in the middle that your advanced question ability that we train you how to do causes them to see they have that they didn't even know they had before they started talking with you. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to do that, which pretty much eliminates that objection from happening. But let's say they 1 out of 50 or 1 out of 200 still give you that objection. Here's what you want to say. Okay. I'm going to repeat this. Now, this is all in our virtual training courses, pretty much every single objection you've ever heard of, because we have a course that's just on objections, the top 52 objections. That's like a 4-hour course, all written out as well, plus all the video training. But the virtual training, the other virtual training courses are much more far detailed, but you can actually purchase both of those together if you want. Okay, so what you're going to do, you're just going to agree with them first, because first of all, you have to disarm them. You have to get them to let their guard down. If you're like, well, but you said, and you start arguing with them, they just do what? Emotionally close down even more and try to get rid of you or push back. So you say, yeah, that's not a problem for sure. And then you're going to ask this. So I want you to write this down as fast as you can. I think it's Chris Hutchinson. Yeah, that's not a problem. And actually here, I'm going to do this because I have got this. I'm going to show you this. I want to make sure I get this right for you. 1 second. Because I've actually gotten this written down. Let's see here. Let's see. I want to give this to you word for word. Yeah. Page 47. Hold on. Oh, you're lucky. I got this manual right in here, baby. This is all our virtual training courses as well, but I've got a manual in here. Yeah. How could I forget that? Yeah, that's not a problem. Now, when you say that you need to pray about it, like, what specific parts of what we went over today do you feel like you really need to pray about? Now, do you see the emotion of what I just did there at the end? That will trigger them every single time to tell you what the real objection is. Well, Jeremy, I just really need to pray about it. It's a big decision, and I'm just afraid I don't have the money because Fred's about to lose his job. That's the objection, not praying about it. She doesn't believe she has the money. Now I know it's a money objection, right? Okay, so let me do that again. Yeah, that's not a problem. Now, when you say that you need to pray about it, what specific parts of what we went over today do you feel that you really need to pray about? Now, if I did it like this, now notice the difference in my tone. If I said this, yeah, that's not a problem. Now, when you say you need to pray about it, what specific parts of what we went over do you feel like you need to pray about? You're not going to get, some people will tell you, but some people are like, well, it just, it's a big decision. I need to pray about it. But if I do like this with this emotion, everybody will open up. I can pretty much assure you. I even had CEOs in one of the companies that I was selling to. A lot of the prospects that I was selling to were business owners, some of them large enterprise accounts where I was actually closing the CEO of like a Fortune 1000 company or a few Fortune 500. And they gave me the pray about objection down in Texas, okay? That I had to pray about things down there, decisions. And I'm like, yeah, that's not a problem. What specific parts of what we've gone over in the last few weeks do you feel that you really need to pray about? Well, Jeremy, I just don't know how the software is going to integrate with A, B, and C. And my CTO was telling me there could be issues with here. And I'm like, that's the real objection, not praying about it. So then I knew how to help him overcome that, because that was more of a concern, not really an objection. Okay. Now at the end of that, okay, if they still are like, I just need to pray about it, I know, blah, 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 you're going to say something like this. Okay. Yeah, I still feel like I need to pray about it. It's just a lot of money. We don't have the budget, and you can't help them overcome the money concern. Let's just say that. Okay. You're going to simply say, well, how do you feel God would feel about you? And then you're going to repeat back what they said they wanted. Now, I don't know what you sell. Oh, you sell e-commerce. Okay. So what you do is you probably sell to people who have a 9-to-5 job who want to make more money and have more time with their family, right? So you're going to say that. Yeah, that's not a problem. Now, when you say that you need to pray about it, like what specific parts of what we went over today do you feel that you really need to pray about? Telling you, do it exactly that way. Well, Jeremy, it's just, they're going to tell you the concern. Let's say you can't overcome it, and they say they still need to pray about it. Then you're going to say this. Yeah, and how do you feel God would feel about you starting your own business where you can make more money and have more time with your wife and 2 daughters? What are they going to say to that? I don't think he would want me to make more money and have time with my daughters. He can't say that. He's like, well, I think he'd want me to do it. Well, then if God wants you to do it, on the flip side, who would not want you to do it where you had that time with your daughter? That's a really good point. I even had people say like, oh, Satan would want me not to do that. Well, what would God want you to do? Well, he would want me to. And then you just show them the next step. See how easy that is? Okay. That's in your industry. Well, how do you feel God would feel about you starting your own business where you can make more money to pay for their tuition? And like you had said, be able to have time with your daughters so you can actually see all their soccer games. Well, he would probably, well, let's just say, well, I don't know what he'd want me to do. Well, you tell me, would God want you to have time to be with your daughters? Or would he rather just have you work all the time and then miss out on their childhood? Yeah, I know. Well, on the flip side, who do you think, if God wants you to have that time and he's given you that vehicle that allows you to do that, on the flip side, who would not want you to have that time and not move forward with this? On the flip side, the opposite of God, who would be the person in the scriptures that would not want you to have that time with your family? Yeah, I know. Well, what do you think God would want you to do? See how we're flipping that script. Hopefully that answered your question. All right, I've got time for 1 or 2 more questions here. I'm sorry. I know you guys are going to get angry at me for not answering all of your questions. Here's a question from here. Hey, Jeremy, I'm selling solar. Trained tons of people in solar too. How do I get prospects to stop focusing on price versus competitors? Well, you learn NEPQ. Because I know what your industry trains. I know the door-to-door industry very, very well. It was the first sales job I ever had. I sold door-to-door home security, and I know the transactional type of sales that translated from door-to-door alarms over to door-to-door solar. We train thousands of people in your industry. I could probably give you 200 or 300 of them. Let's say that we train 5,000 reps in your industry. I guarantee you there's at least 200 or 300 now that make over 6 figures every month in commissions, just as a rep. That's it, not an owner. Okay. I'd say most of our average people make 30 to 50 grand a month in that industry every month that were barely making anything before. So you want to learn NEPQ, because what you're doing in transactional selling by asking a few questions, then going into your pitch that you're doing now, is that I guarantee you your show up rates when you try to book an appointment, like you're on the door and you try to set an appointment to come back when they're both home. I guarantee you probably half of those people aren't even there when you come back, right? Or you get to the door and they're like, oh, we're not interested. We talked about we're not interested. And then you're done, okay? You want to get your show-up rates to 75%, 80% plus. And if they miss, they're the ones calling you or texting you and like, oh, so sorry, I had a flat tire. Can you come back tomorrow at 2:00? And they're the ones telling you that they're sorry for missing the appointment, not you chasing them down. So you probably want to learn NEPQ that pulls them in, where they start thinking more results-based thinking over price or cost-based thinking. Because that's a big question for me to answer that would probably take me at least an hour training for you, all right? How do you get a sales job as a beginner in the coaching industry? You probably want to be certified in NEPQ. And I'm not kidding you when I say that. We have hundreds of employers, even in your industry, that come to us every month. And you know the first question they ask us, who do you have that has gone through your training? Because we onboard just in your industry that you're talking there, probably 300 or 400 new salespeople every month into our training programs, just in your industry, right there in that coaching industry that you said, okay, to get certified. And these employers from your industry that come to us, the first question they ask, who do you have like in your advanced NEPQ 3.0, even if they're a beginner that's certified that we can hire? Now, why would they come to us to hire people in your industry? Because they know that if they hire somebody that's trained by us in your industry, that rep is going to make them 3 to 5 times more in revenue than another rep who's trained in some old model of selling. Okay. So I kid you not when I say that. It is becoming a new gold standard in most industries, but especially yours, that you're NEPQ certified. And especially in your industry, if you're not NEPQ certified, good luck as a beginner trying to get a job. Most people actually come into our training that don't even have a sales job in your industry yet, because they want to acquire those skills so they can actually show that they have the skills. So that impresses the employer that they've spent money on their own skills, especially if it's NEPQ, because the employer knows they're going to make more sales for them than somebody else using the old model of selling or consultative selling techniques that have been around since the dinosaur ages of selling. So a lot of salespeople that haven't even sold anything come into our training programs because they want to acquire those skills now before they even get the job. So when they get the job, day number one, they're making sales and they know what they're doing. Whereas salespeople who don't acquire the skills, luckily they might get hired, and because they don't know how to sell the right way, they don't hardly make any sales. And guess what happens after the first month? Most of them get fired. And then it's pretty much impossible to get another sales job at that point when you got canned after 30 days. It's like if somebody said, well, I want to get the job and then learn how to sell. Well, I'm not sure. I guess you could if you want to get fired and maybe not get results, but I'm not sure a neurosurgeon would say that. Like, I want to get the job as a neurosurgeon, and then after I start doing surgeries, I'm going to learn how to do surgeries. No, you learn how to do surgeries. You go to school, you learn the skills, and then you get into the job so you can actually perform day number one. Hopefully that answered your question on that. All right, beautiful people, I got to go. I have a client here in our building that paid for some just one-on-one training with us, which we hardly ever do. It's very expensive. I think he paid 12 grand to be here just for a few hours. So if you want our virtual training platform and our group training, which is much, much less than just a few hours of one-on-one training, you want to acquire those skills, you want to start making your first 10 grand a month in commissions in your industry. If you want to start making your first 15 or 20 every single month in your industry, or if you want to start making 30 grand a month in commissions, or 40 or 50 grand a month in commissions plus in what you sell now, I can assure you we are training thousands of people in your industry, if not companies, and their salespeople are making that type of money every single month. And they are crushing you, outselling you 2, 3, 4, 5 times more than you are, not because they're cool, not because their eyebrows are plucked, not because they don't have nose and ear, hair in their nose that sticks out, not because they wear cool shirts or cool socks. They're just like you. They get up, they brush their teeth, they go to bed at night, they have trials and tribulations, family problems, their tires get flat, they drink coffee in the morning, they even eat breakfast and drink water. The only difference between them and you is what? Well, they've acquired the skills that work with human behavior. Whereas some of you are actually using skills you just don't know yet, that you've been forced to learn. It's not your fault. You were forced to learn skills that actually trigger sales resistance, that actually trigger the objections you are getting right now. So if you want to learn how to eliminate that from happening and how to disarm your prospects where they want to open up to you and they want to engage, where selling becomes really, really easy and you can actually generally make 3 times what you are now or more, message me directly right now. If you're on IG, message me directly right now. I'm right here. If you're on LinkedIn or the Facebook group or my personal Facebook or the business page, message me directly right now. Okay, if you're on YouTube, post hashtag NEPQ. Now, if you can't figure out how to DM me, just post hashtag NEPQ. Either myself or one of my stunt doubles or somebody on my team will go over the different training options that we have for you for your industry if you want to acquire those skills so you make 2 or 3 or 4 times more than what you are making now. I'm dead serious when I say that to you. I see the testimonials every single day. Okay, with love, guys, we'll see you next week. I'm taking a flight out later today. I can't remember. I've got to look up where I'm going. I think it's somewhere in the Midwest or something for like a day or something crazy. Anyways, with love, I will see you guys next week. Thanks, everybody. Oh, hey, people are asking me how to join the Facebook group on IG. Just go to salesrevolution.pro. So just go to salesrevolution.pro, or if you're on LinkedIn or YouTube, go to salesrevolution.pro, salesrevolution.pro. .pro. I'll even be nice and type it in here. And when you join the free Facebook group, because we go live in there about 3 or 4 times a week, the other platforms we don't, maybe once a week. Right when you join salesrevolution.pro, just DM me and we'll message you over a free training called the NEPQ 101 mini course to get you kind of started with a little hors d'oeuvre. Okay. If you're on IG, just go to salesrevolution.pro to join the Facebook group right now. Okay. With love, we'll see everybody soon. Thank you very much. Sorry I couldn't get to all your questions today. All right, guys, be good.